The moment Ryan saw Elena walk through the door of his family's living room, something shifted in the universe around him. It wasn't her beauty, though. She was undeniably lovely with those warm brown eyes and the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was thinking. It wasn't even the kindness in her smile as she introduced herself as his new calculus tutor. It was something deeper, something he couldn't name, like recognizing a song you've never heard before, but somehow already know by heart. And in that instant, without warning or permission, his world tilted on its axis. What he didn't see, what he couldn't have known in those first breathless seconds, was the delicate silver ring on her left hand, the one that would soon break something inside him he didn't even know could break. Ryan was 18, a high school senior drowning in advanced placement classes and the crushing weight of expectations. His parents had mapped out his entire future with the precision of architects designing a skyscraper, top university, medical school, successful practice. But Ryan couldn't see any of it clearly because he was failing calculus, and that single failure threatened to topple the entire careful structure of their dreams. Elena was 24, a graduate student working toward her teaching credential, taking on tutoring jobs to pay her rent. She arrived every Tuesday and Thursday evening at 6 o'clock, always punctual, always prepared, always patient in ways his high school teachers had never been. She didn't make him feel stupid when he couldn't grasp a concept. She would simply find another way to explain it, drawing diagrams on scratch paper, using metaphors from real life, turning abstract numbers into stories he could understand. If you believe in the power of unexpected connections, in the beauty of kindness, and in the hope that comes from second chances, please take a moment to like this video, leave a comment about a teacher or mentor who changed your life, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world, and it helps us continue bringing you stories that touch the heart. The first few weeks were innocent enough. Ryan looked forward to their sessions with an enthusiasm that surprised even him, a kid who had spent most of his senior year feeling numb and disconnected from everything around him. Elena had a way of making mathematics feel less like torture and more like discovery. She would lean over his textbook, her finger tracing equations, and he would catch the faint scent of her perfume, something floral and subtle. She would laugh when he made self-deprecating jokes about his intelligence, telling him he was far smarter than he gave himself credit for. She would celebrate his small victories, the moment a difficult concept finally clicked, with genuine excitement that made him feel seen in a way he hadn't felt in years. His grades began to improve, his confidence grew, and somewhere in the space between derivatives and integrals, in the quiet hours at the dining room table while his parents worked late, Ryan fell completely and hopelessly in love with his tutor. He knew it was wrong. He knew it was impossible. She was older, wiser, living in a completely different world than his teenage existence of prom committees and college applications. But the heart doesn't consult logic before it makes its choices. Ryan found himself thinking about Elena constantly, imagining conversations they might have about things other than calculus, wondering what movies she liked, what books she read, what made her laugh when she wasn't being his patient, professional tutor. He started arriving downstairs 15 minutes early, just to have a few extra moments of small talk before they opened the textbooks. He memorized the way she bit her lower lip when she was concentrating, the way her eyes lit up when he finally understood a difficult problem, the way she would stretch her arms above her head when they took breaks, revealing just a sliver of skin at her waist. Then came the evening that shattered everything. It was a Thursday in late October, and Elena arrived wearing a coat against the autumn chill. As she removed it and settled into her usual chair across from him, Ryan noticed something that made his stomach drop like a stone into dark water. The ring. He had never noticed it before, or maybe he had noticed it, and his mind had simply refused to acknowledge what it meant. But there it was, catching the light from the dining room chandelier, a simple band with a small diamond that suddenly seemed to fill his entire field of vision. Elena caught him staring and smiled, a different kind of smile than the one she usually gave him, this one tinged with something that looked almost apologetic. She didn't need to explain. Ryan could read the story in her eyes. There was someone else, Someone who had already claimed the future Ryan had been secretly building in his imagination. Someone who had the right to slip that ring onto her finger, who got to wake up next to her, who knew her in all the ways Ryan desperately wanted to know her. The knowledge hit him with physical force, like someone had reached into his chest and squeezed his heart until it stopped beating properly. He managed to open his calculus book with shaking hands, managed to nod at her explanations, managed to work through practice problems while his entire world crumbled around him. Elena seemed to sense that something had shifted, her voice becoming gentler, more careful, as if she understood the wound she had unknowingly inflicted. The weeks that followed were exquisite torture. Ryan kept up the tutoring sessions because he needed them, because his parents were paying good money and his college future still depended on passing calculus, but mostly because he couldn't bear the thought of not seeing Elena twice a week. He told himself he would get over it, that this was just an infatuation, a teenage crush, that would fade with time and distance. But love doesn't work that way, especially not first love, especially not the kind that arrives unexpectedly and burrows into your bones. He learned to hide his feelings behind the mask of a dedicated student, to channel his longing into mathematical problems, to find a strange comfort in the borrowed intimacy of their sessions, even though it killed him a little each time. Elena, for her part, remained kind and encouraging, seemingly unaware of the storm raging beneath Ryan's calm surface. She talked occasionally about her fiancé, a man named David who worked in software development, mentioning their upcoming wedding planned for next summer, sharing little details about venue selections and invitation designs. Each mention was like a small knife to Ryan's heart, but he listened and nodded and even offered polite congratulations because that was what you did when you loved someone, even if they could never love you back. You celebrated their happiness even when it destroyed yours. You learned to find meaning in the moments you were granted, however limited and bittersweet they might be. Something unexpected began to happen as the months passed. Through the lens of his impossible love, Ryan started to see the world differently. Elena's patience taught him patience with himself. Her kindness inspired him to be kinder to others. Her passion for teaching awakened something in him, a desire to find his own passion rather than simply following the path his parents had laid out. He started questioning whether medicine was really his calling or just their dream for him. He began to understand that sometimes the people we love teach us the most important lessons not by returning our feelings, but by showing us who we want to become. Elena had given him so much more than calculus skills. She had given him a glimpse of what it meant to truly care about something, to approach life with enthusiasm and purpose, to believe that he was capable of more than he ever imagined. By the time senior year was ending and Ryan had not only passed calculus, but earned an A, he had come to a fragile peace with his unrequited love. Their final tutoring session was in late May, just before his graduation. Elena brought him a card congratulating him on his acceptance to university, and inside she had written words he would treasure forever. You are so much more capable than you ever gave yourself credit for. Never stop believing in yourself, Ryan. You have a brilliant future ahead. They shook hands formally, professionally, two people who had shared something meaningful, even if she would never know the full depth of what it had meant to him. If this story has touched your heart in any way, if you've ever loved someone you couldn't have, if you've learned lessons from unexpected teachers, please show your support by liking this video and sharing it with someone who might need to hear it. Your engagement helps us reach more hearts and tell more stories that matter. Years later, Ryan would look back on that autumn and winter with a bittersweet fondness that no longer ached quite so sharply. He would understand that Elena had been exactly what he needed at exactly the right moment, a light in his darkness, a guide through his confusion. Even if she could never be what he wanted her to be, he would carry forward the lessons she taught him, both the mathematical ones and the deeper truths about patience, kindness, and believing in potential. Comment below with just one word that describes your own experience with a teacher or mentor who changed your life. We read every single comment. And sometimes late at night when he couldn't sleep, Ryan would wonder if Elena ever knew, if she ever sensed the depth of what he felt during those Tuesday and Thursday evenings. He would wonder if she thought of him sometimes, her former student who worked so hard not just to pass calculus but to make her proud. He would wonder if she was happy with David, if their wedding had been beautiful, if her life had unfolded the way she hoped it would. But mostly, Ryan learned to be grateful for the gift of having known her, even briefly, even from a distance, even without the possibility of forever. Because some people enter our lives not to stay but to transform us, to crack us open and fill us with light we didn't know we were capable of holding. Elena had been that person for him, and though his heart had broken for her, it had also grown larger, more compassionate, more capable of love than it had ever been before. That, Ryan finally understood, was the real lesson she had taught him, the one that would last long after the formulas and theorems had faded from memory. Love, even when unreturned, was never wasted. It changed you in ways you would spend a lifetime discovering. And for that gift, painful as it was, Ryan would always be grateful.